I mean, I thought grabbing pussy would take him down, and it had no effect. I think a lot of things will end
I think
his.
making fun of that disabled reporter, that was the first thing
Yes.
that I thought would
Y-
take him down.
Yeah. There's so many things that we could point
Right.
to.
So
And that's part of what's happening here is we forget all of those things as new things happen every day. Good morning, Susan. I'm so glad that you could join me for Just the Facts today because we have a lot to discuss.
yes, we do.
I want to talk to you about the self-inflicted wound that Donald Trump has created for himself with the Epstein files and the diversions, the distractions, the deceit that he's using so that his base will forget about it. Is that going to happen? No, it's not, is it?
It's not going to happen. I think they're real interested in what's out there.
And it's only because he said there was something interesting. There's no criminal cases possible. Epstein's been dead for longer than the statute of limitations. So there's no more crimes that could possibly be indicted. All he's doing is he originally was saying, oh, it's all Clinton. And now he's got the FBI, not he, his stooge, Pam Bondi, has had the FBI doing a full search for any references in the Epstein files to who? To Donald Trump. I don't know how many they found, but I bet it's enough that he's motivated to make sure no one ever sees those, right?
And they ordered 1,000 FBI agents to comb through the files to find Trump's name. I
On
mean,
a 24-hour basis. It was that
right,
urgent.
right.
So, but
So the
okay,
question
so
is, what's he hiding? What are they looking for?
well, I'd sure like to hear from our viewers about what they think he's hiding. But in addition, let's talk about some other distractions because there are a lot of them. And the first one was, oh, okay, I'll get you the grand jury testimony. Well, that is a distraction for a couple of reasons. And you and I have talked about this. You were asking me, well, why? And I said, because number one, under Rule 6E of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure, and I'm not going to get too detailed, but you cannot disclose grand jury testimony except to another law enforcement office for a judicial proceeding, or in the case of Watergate, we went to the court and asked for permission to release the grand jury testimony to the impeachment hearings before the Judiciary Committee on the grounds that that was like a law enforcement judicial proceeding. And the court granted that, and we were able to turn over the grand jury testimony. But prurient public interest is not one of the things listed in Rule 6E exceptions.
And
So it's a distraction to say that they're going to get that.
right, it's a non-issue, but also, isn't it true that what the grand jury sees is a sliver of what the
Yes.
files say? So it wouldn't even be much of anything. It was
Right. One,
right,
it won't be released, but two, you're absolutely right. When the grand jury gets information, it's enough to support an indictment. It's
right,
not everything. And there's a lot of reasons why you don't put everything before the grand jury. Partly it's because you don't want multiple repetitions of the same information, because every time someone says it, they say it a little differently, and you don't want them cross-examined on something they could have said slightly differently. So yeah, it's a sliver of the information. And even if it was released, it would have to be severely redacted in all properness. That would, you don't want the names of victims released, and other information that has nothing to do with the crime should not be released. But is there credible information in the testimony? Of course there is. But why now? No criminal proceedings are going to happen, and it's clearly a political thing now. In fact, of course, as you have pointed out, there's a fight between Bondi and Patel about the release of this, and Bongino about whether this should be released or not. So even internally, this has been a problem. But so, oh, Susan, you're
okay,
leaving
sorry,
me.
sorry. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you're here. So, in addition to that, what other distractions are you noticing that our listeners should know about?
Well, the big one yesterday was during the press conference with the Philippine president, and he got a question from a reporter about the Epstein files, and he said, you know, really, what you really should be looking at, is that that Obama. Well, first of all, he posted an Obama video, a fake AI generated
I know,
video,
that was
Obama
disgraceful.
being arrested, and now he's saying that he was orchestrating a coup and that we have evidence, and it was crazy stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's back to the old conspiracy theories of Obama's responsible for everything,
right.
and you should be investigating the Russiagate hoax. Russiagate is not a hoax. There's no, and what's really interesting is Obama has been quiet. He does not respond to the baloney. And by the way, I'm not wearing my usual just the facts pin. This blouse is not holding it up. This is a circus pin, and it has, I don't know if you can see, this is a spinning Ferris wheel in it, because if you elect a clown, you can expect a circus. That's why I'm wearing this pin today. But Obama did respond to this, and he
Yeah.
hasn't responded, but he basically said, out of respect for the office of the president, I don't respond. This one deserves a response because it's so
But, but
ridiculous.
wait, a little of the detail, Joe, was pretty great, though. I love his use of the words. Out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the
Right.
constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response,
Read it
which
to
I
the
thought,
very last sentence because I think that's really
yeah,
powerful.
yes.
Uh,
But these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction.
and
So,
he also went on to say in another quote that there was nothing in any of the materials released that changes the basic outcome of the Russia investigation, that Russia did try to um, pressure and interfere in the election, even though there's no evidence that they succeeded in affecting any votes. And there is nothing different than in the bipartisan report that was chaired by Marco Rubio. I love the reference to the current Secretary of State, who at the time was on the Intelligence Committee and who did go along with the bipartisan
yeah,
reporting.
that was a
So I
nice little detail that he threw in
Yes, it
there.
really
Yes.
was. And
Yeah.
then here's another one, another distraction, which is he released, against the family's wishes, the Martin Luther King files. Now, that's not grand jury testimony. That was classified investigation by, I'm old enough to remember
Yeah.
J. Edgar Hoover and his obsession with trying to find dirt on Martin Luther King. Um, but the best outcome of that was Martin Luther King's daughter posted on social media a picture of her father, and all it said above it in her comment was, now do the Epstein files. And I thought that was really good. But clearly, Martin Luther King's files were, well, maybe it'll distract, right? That's why
Right.
he did it. And
Right.
it's just silly. So, what other things have you
And
noticed
then
that
you
are
mentioned too,
distractions?
Jill, that on the Daily Show, what did he say? He made a comment, a great comment,
Well,
right? He
let
said,
me,
"Oh,
yes.
you do it," because I didn't see it.
Well,
You saw it.
the first of all, if you didn't see the Daily Show yesterday with one of its new anchors, Josh, oh gosh, what was Josh's last name? Josh Johnson. Hold on a
I
second.
think it's Johnson, maybe.
I think it is. I'll look it up later, but everyone should watch this show because there were so many good lines in it. And maybe let's end with that so we can end on an upbeat note. We'll talk about the show and all the things that he said. But you pointed out to me this morning that there was another distraction, which is Chuck Grassley, the senator from the Senate Judiciary Committee, asked the Justice Department to investigate information about the FBI's handling of the probe into Hillary Clinton's emails.
Guess
Oh my
what?
God,
Guess
how
what?
old is that? And
Pam Bondi granted it.
yeah, I
Shocking,
mean,
right?
no, not
I mean,
shocking. I'm sorry. It is not shocking. It is exactly what you would expect
I
from
mean, it's
Pam
such
Bondi.
old stuff.
So, yeah.
And
Then there
then
was, Go ahead.
The thing with the Washington Commanders and the Cleveland Guardians, he made a big deal about reverting to their racist names of the Redskins and the Indians.
He's
And not
actually
only did he,
calling for racist names to be reinstated.
right, and he said if they don't, I won't make a deal to build a stadium for them. So,
So, and he wanted to take away the citizenship of Rosie O'Donnell. That's pretty
right,
horrible. I mean,
right,
I can't think of any other. Every day there's another attempt to distract. Oh, here was another one. He he claims that he convinced Coke to take out the fructose and to put back real cane sugar. And this was one of the bits from this Daily Show last night where Johnson opens a can of Coke and flips it open. You can hear the pop. He takes a taste and he goes, "Yum. Yeah, I don't care about pedophiles anymore.
right.
It's
That's
not going to
funny.
work." Who cares that he did that?
And
And
by the
then
way, there
I
was a
thought,
doctor on who said that the real cane sugar and the fruit, it's the same. It doesn't even matter that they're switching to that
really?
same
Oh,
amount of sugar.
God.
It's just as bad for you. So
Wow.
I know.
Well, I thought one of the best things was the ending of the show, The Daily Show, where Josh says, if he really wants to distract, all he has to do is fulfill his promises. He can end the war in Gaza. He can end the war in Ukraine. He can do universal health care. He can build affordable housing. That would distract from his terrible behavior on the Epstein files. That's what we should all be hoping for. Don't
Right.
you agree?
Amen. Yeah, I think so. That would certainly do it. And it really, all of this does speak to his desperation. And as
Yes.
Lawrence O'Donnell pointed out last night, you know, the
In a
only thing he
brilliant
ever
show. Lawrence O'Donnell was
brilliant, brilliant
brilliant.
show last night. And really, it was very powerful. He read transcripts from one of the young girls who testified who was raped at the age of 14. And he made the point that the only thing that Donald Trump has ever said about Ghislaine is that he wishes her well. And actually, there was another interview by
And
Jonathan
he has
Swan
never acknowledged the pain
of
of
the
any
victims.
victim.
But Jonathan Swan actually sat down one-to-one with Trump recently and said, called him on it and said, you wished her well. Why would you wish a woman who's a pedophile, who's convicted, wishing her well? And he goes, I'd wish you well. I wish everybody well. And I'm thinking to myself, he wishes everybody well. Don't you remember when at one point in the first Trump term with the police, he said, grab them, hit them, get them in the car, whatever.
Right.
Like he doesn't wish
Yeah.
people well. It's just a crazy distraction. But I think his comments about Ghislaine Maxwell speaks volumes about his
Yes.
integrity and his character.
It does. And again, let's hope he starts distracting us with doing what he promised to do. And in the meantime, let's keep resisting. Everyone, don't let him get you down. Don't let being overwhelmed by distractions every day. And he changes the subject because everything he's doing is so wrong.
Wait, we forgot one thing, Jill, before we go. They even dismissed Congress because they don't want this to
Yes.
come to a vote. They have enough Republican votes to join the Democrats to make the Epstein files public. And what
Right.
did Mike Johnson do? He dismissed them
And he
as
did
of
that
yesterday
because
for the next couple
politically
of months.
it would be very damaging to Republicans to vote against releasing them because their constituents want them
Right,
released. And again, I'm going back to this is self-inflicted. Donald Trump made them think they wanted it released, and that's why it's happening.
right.
And
But
so, yeah,
to dismiss the Congress because you don't want a vote to come out that is not going to
right.
go your way. Have you ever remembered anything like that,
Of
Jill? I
course
mean,
not.
no,
I'm sure there's no such thing as evading an answer that will come in September when they come back into session. They have to
right,
come back and
right,
they're going to still have to face this. I don't
right.
know if they hope in the recess that people will be able to be persuaded. Otherwise, I don't think so. But again, there's no reason for releasing this information. What does anyone think they are going to learn from this? They're going
Right.
to learn how often Donald Trump was involved in something like this.
I
And
don't know. I think
maybe we can end on, Susan,
I think
the one of the things that Lawrence pointed out last night was the 14-year-old who unfortunately committed suicide recently, because of the pain of her
she was the first
life.
accuser. She was the one they built the case on, really.
Right. And um, she said when they talked in private, Ghislaine and Epstein, when they spoke privately, they talked about their friends in social circus. The first name they mentioned was Donald Trump. And he was definitely part of this. And so it's really something that is going to incriminate him. And so you asked, what is he hiding? Well, he's hiding his role in a child pedophile ring and sex trafficking of minors. And I don't think he wants this to come out, because even though his base wants it because he promised that it would be Clinton, they're going to find something very different. And so it's never going to come out. And again, going back to what we first discussed, there's no crimes to be investigated anymore because the statute of limitations has run. They've kept it secret long enough. And of course, he's going to turn that to, well, it could have been released by Biden, and it could have been, except
But
there's no reason to release it. None.
and isn't it interesting that the first thing that causes a break with Trump, with the MAGA base, is this? I mean, it's
Yes.
not the Ukraine war, it's not tariffs, it's not, it's not the immigration, it's not pulling people off the street. It's the Epstein files. So how crazy
So
is that?
will this take him down? I mean, I thought grabbing pussy would take him down, and it had no effect. I think a lot of things will
I
end
think
his.
making fun of that disabled reporter, that was the first thing
Yes.
I thought would
Yeah.
take him down.
Yeah. There's so many things that we could point
Right.
to.
So
And that's part of what's happening here is we forget all of those things as new things happen every day. But Susan and I are here to remind you of what the facts are. So stay tuned for more episodes of Just the Facts with me and Susan, or sometimes me. I have an episode coming out today with me interviewing an unbelievable Bill Curtis in one of the most interesting discussions I've had with one of my heroes, who I learned so many details about. Please tune in to see the episode with Bill Curtis. Thank you for listening. Look forward to seeing you all again. Thanks, Susan.
thank you, Joe.